I would rather get shot in the face than drink Wilkins coffee. Hey everybody, this is Oliver the Ricketts, and I want to do something a little bit different today. A lot of people know that I'm a really big Jim Henson fan. I think early exposure to Jim Henson really helped develop my sense of humor and some of the content that I appreciate. And my sensibilities as an artist, I think a lot of it can be traced back to being exposed to things like the Muppets and Sesame Street and Fraggle Rock when I was really young. Henson's got a unique, dry sense of humor, mixed with some slapstick, mixed with situationally based comedy, stuff that people are noticing about the Muppet Show now that it's on Disney+. Of course, I'm not gonna sit here and be like, oh, I like Jim Henson, and you've never heard of him. Of course everybody knows Jim Henson. I think what's shocking people about Jim Henson recently, though, is the resurfacing of the Wilkins coffee commercials. For those of you who don't know, the Wilkins coffee commercials are from the 70s, and they start with this early prototype of Kermit, who's functioning as a character called Wilkin. And then the other character in each short is a character called Won'tkin. So Wilkin, Won'tkin, it's a whole joke. The thing about these commercials is that they're aggressively violent. The strategy, of course, is to threaten the audience into feeling like if they don't buy Wilkins coffee, they will be physically harmed. These commercials have resurfaced recently, especially because TMZ did an article on them basically titled, "What the F*** was going on with Jim Henson?" And I have to agree, these are extremely dark commercials that everybody's getting a really big kick out of right now. Let's take a look at some of my favorites.
Okay, buddy, what do you think of Wilkins coffee? I never tasted it. Now, what do you think of Wilkins?
What I really love about the first one is the definite threat that it poses to the audience, especially when he turns the camera around with his dry eyes, demanding what you think of Wilkins coffee.
Care for a cup of Wilkins coffee?
No, I don't like coffee.
This has been a public service.
I also love the idea of a human hand coming out with a gun and shooting Won'tkins. Almost like there's a human hitman waiting to hear anybody who doesn't like Wilkins coffee. Honestly though, as you watch Won'tkin get into more and more entanglements with the clearly satanic Wilkin over this coffee, it becomes stranger and stranger that his outlook on life seems to be, I would rather get shot in the face than drink Wilkins coffee. And I have to say, these are pretty disturbing. And the thing is, at the end of the day, even though these are strange ads, they definitely seem to work. People remember them, and that's why they're having that resurgence they are now. You don't get things on TV like this anymore. I think what a lot of people don't know, though, is that Wilkins coffee wasn't the only Jim Henson commercial out there and available. So I thought it'd be kind of fun today if we took a little walk down memory lane and looked at some of these Jim Henson projects. And I'll tell you which ones are the most f***ed up. I want to first start with these two ads that I found actually through a legitimate Jim Henson website that is catered towards children. These are the ads that are created in the Jim Henson style that the estate still wants to push as part of his image. Things haven't changed enough that this is now considered risky or inappropriate to show to children, but they all still have that surreal kind of dark undertone. The first one I want to show you is this commercial for Sir Linit. You use it on your clothes, and I'm actually quite taken with this one.
I wish I could make him look like new again.
That fair damsel should use new linen fabric finish. Behold that pile of garments. Forsooth, one merely sprayeth, and ironeth. What ho, clothes? How feelest thou now? Let's really hear it. Thank thee, and good day.
New Linit fabric finish. Not a starch. Maybe I should try this.
You see at the end, the product winds up here, and she's unfazed by this. Maybe that's not true, because this isn't the face of somebody who's truly pleased with the way things are going. The clothes dancing gets me every time. Even though if you were to slow them down, I do think they would look truly disturbing. Sticking with the more wholesome vibe, we're going to take a look at, I think they're chips or the equivalent of Chex Mix, but it's a product called Crowns, Wheels, and Flutes. And the Muppet featured in this one is truly in the middle of crisis.
It all started when I discovered wheels. Anyhow, I was fixing a tray of wheels when suddenly I saw a wheel stealer.
I am a wheel stealer.
I was enjoying their corny crunchiness when I realized the character on the TV screen was in reality a crown grabber. Crowns! Crowns, you're gonna meet wheel stealers, flute snatchers, and crown grabbers. But beware, they're very sneaky and have all kinds of disguises. Why, there may be some in your house right now.
I think it's obvious, though, that this one clearly has a darker undertone. First starting with this gremlin of a Cookie Monster here. I also love how tormented this man is by these gremlins from hell. And of course, the last implication of the commercial, that it would be the children's parents who are the ones you really have to look out for. Your father, at any point, could be Fanged Cookie Monster. It's got a very Invasion of the Body Snatchers feel, but it's a Jim Henson commercial for 70s Chex Mix. There are quite a few bread commercials that Jim Henson put together in his time, and they all feature that threatening vibe that Wilkins had. We're going to start with a company called Kerns.
Hey, fella, do you like Kerns bread?
Ooh, well, gee, I don't know, I guess.
You gotta be positive.
He shot that guy right in the head. I cannot believe the level of gun violence that was just allowed, to sell bread to children. In fact, the vibe of a lot of these is that the Muppet pitching the product is actually just trying to do a public service, saying if you don't do this, we will have to kill you.
Hey, buddy, you want Kerns bread or Brand X?
Well, what's so good about Kerns bread?
Well, for one thing, it doesn't blow up.
It's not that we want to. It's not that it's fun for us. This is a service we're providing you. Of course, this is conflicting when we get into the next brand, which is, of course, Claussons Bread.
Help! Did you bring a loaf of Claussons bread? No! Why don't you drop down to the grocery store for some?
He let that guy fall to his death. Don't come back unless you got the goods, and don't bother going to the hospital unless you have a fresh loaf of Claussons under your arm. We gotta talk about that bite, too.
A sandwich made with Claussons bread. Want a bite?
Sure. Ah, he's a sharp salesman.
That's like a bone-shattering bite. Listen to the sound it makes when that Muppet's jaw clenches on the other one's shoulder. And then we get into what is my absolute favorite of all of these Henson commercials, and that's the FHA financing commercial.
479.
This man is confused about home financing.
41.
If this is your problem, find out about an FHA insured home mortgage. Write for a free consumer bulletin to FHA Home Financing, Department of Housing and Urban Development, Washington, D.C. You'll thank us.
Thank you very much!
I wish I could answer people that way. It's aggressive, and I love it. The rest of these are threatening. That guy's just ungrateful. His life wasn't threatened. He was given good advice. I want to just start saying that to people in my day-to-day life. But I think you have to actually be purple in order to pull that off. But now we get to what I think is the most disturbing of the bunch. I guess at the time it was innocent, but knowing now what we know went on back then, the implications of this next ad are actually very dark and pretty sinister.
Do you eat McGarys Sausages for breakfast?
You should. They start your day with a bang!
You'll notice that Kermit has now made his full appearance in these. That's just Kermit the Frog. And I'm gonna assume the other guy is his uncle, but he also kinda looks like a monk or even a priest. Is that just me? But it's really this one on screen now that gets me. Imagine you're in bed and suddenly a monk or a priest or even your uncle starts shaking you awake, asking if you've tried his supple and savory sausage.
What are you eating?
Savory, succulent McGarys Sausages. Want a bite?
And if that's not enough, when you say no, he yanks a gun out on you and he shoots it. I'm just saying that's not a scenario any of us want to live through. And I hope Kermit went and got help for his less than ideal guardian. In any case, I really do consider Jim Henson to be one of the great creators of our time, or I guess not my time. And I think it's absolutely fascinating to look back on some of his darker early work. And I completely understand why they're so popular right now. And listen, if you've had a great time looking at them too, definitely feel free to give this video a like, subscribe to the YouTube channel, and head on over to Spotify where you can hear some more in-depth conversations on our podcast, God Damn It, Hello. I sit down with my best friend and my girlfriend, or now fiance, and we discuss some of the latest pop culture and strange happenings. It's a great show. Give it a listen. Thanks for watching.